Call to order the October 5th, 2022 Citizens Advisory Committee meeting. Do you want to take roll call, Melissa?
Sure. Committee Member Knight,
I'm here.
Committee Member Wheaton,
Present.
Committee Member Harrington,
Present.
Committee Member Lumiere, I'll come back. I do see him logged in. Committee Member Moon,
I'm here.
thank you. Committee Member Moon is excused today.
Okay.
And Vice Chair Barney is excused, but he might join late if he's able. Committee Member Castillo, White. And Committee Member Rizzo.
Here.
Thank you. Chair Reynolds.
I'm here.
And Committee Member Stephenson.
Here.
Thank you.
Great. Do we want to stand for pledge allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any members of the public present that want to make comment on a non-agenda item? We have no public present in the auditorium. I'm not seeing public present online. So we will move to our guest presentation. Great.
Do we need Paul's letter?
Do we want to read Paul's letter into the record for public comment?
The written comment it fills the public comments, so we
Perfect.
don't need to read it into the record. But yes, Paul sent us very thoughtful comments about our last presentation about tolling, and that is provided in your packets.
Thank you. And Councilmember Glanz, thank you for being here with us tonight.
Good to see you.
Too. All right,
I can briefly introduce.
that would be lovely. Thank you.
Okay. Well, tonight we have a guest presentation from Multnomah County on Southwest 257th Drive. That is a county facility, and they are planning for paving and safety improvements, and they've just begun this project. They're starting their public engagement phase, and they want to hear from us what our concerns are with the corridor and find out a little bit more from our local perspective. And so they're here to present, to tell us more about the project and get our feedback. We have Stephen and Emily tonight from Multnomah County. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for that introduction, Melissa. As was introduced, my name is Stephen McWilliams, project manager for the 257th Drive Corridor Safety Improvement Project. And I have with me here Emily Militich. She is the engineering program manager for roads and bridges in Multnomah County. And she's working on this project with me as well, and will be assisting in this presentation to everybody here. So without further ado, I'll start the presentation. And I'm hoping somebody could say if they can see the slides all right.
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you for having us tonight to give this presentation on Southwest 257 Drive for our upcoming corridor safety improvement project. So project overview, as all of you are well aware, 257 Drive is a principal arterial that is a major connecting point between I-84 to Highway 26. And it's a heavily trafficked corridor with need of many safety improvements. And our goals for this project is to really focus on safety, install multimodal safety improvements from the project extents of up north at Sturge Drive at the top of the hill, down to Southeast Stark Street. Now, the goal of this is to really benefit and install improvements from a safety perspective of walking, driving, rolling, bicycling, and even freight access as well, to really up the safety in this corridor. As we know, it's a higher crash corridor, and it's heavily trafficked by 18,000 vehicles per day, 60% cars and 40% trucks and buses. Our estimated cost of this project is approximately $6 million. That includes design as well as construction. And this is mostly coming from our county road fund, with a very little bit of federal fund to help design and build green bike boxes to benefit bicyclist safety at Cherry Park Road North and Sturgis Drive. Why is this project needed? When we look at the crash data between 2016 and 2020, there's a total of 192 crashes involving people walking, driving, and biking. And that is 7 crashes more per year compared to similar corridors in the region, such as principal arterials and similar corridors that have that higher number of average vehicles per day. In addition to that, it's observed out there in the existing conditions that there's barriers to accessibility. There's narrow sidewalks, there's poles in the sidewalk, a lot of vegetation that takes up a part of that sidewalk. The ADA ramps are mostly non-compliant, as well as the driveways. In addition, the pedestrian infrastructure at the signalized intersections are very outdated and are not compliant up to current ADA standards. In addition to that, this road has a failing pavement condition where it was part of a chip sealing program to maintain. However, that chip sealing program has not been kept up to date, and therefore part of this project, we're definitely going to be doing a 2-inch overlay to maintain this pavement for driving and freight safety. Also, there is very long crosswalk spacing. There's not very many places besides the existing signals where there's safe crossing for pedestrians. We want to look into part of this project where to include mid-block crossings or safer crossings along that corridor that could really shorten up that space and extra walking for crossing the street. And it's observed that there's poor access to transit and bus stop facilities, which we want to look into improving as part of this project. And the project goals listed here is really to improve safety for everyone who uses the corridor. Like I said, it's walking, using mobility device, bicycling, driving, or even using the bus. It is considered uncomfortable to walk or mobility device, bicycle, or use the bus along this corridor due to the high traffic and the existing infrastructure. We really want to maximize our community benefit by building the highest priority improvements and build community support. And we're doing that really by having a robust community engagement phase where we want to hear from the community and really look at what the priorities are when we discuss the safety improvements, and decide how to prioritize or essentially use the budget available to maximize the amount of safety improvements we can provide based on that feedback. And also it's part of it is maintaining county roads. Here's a general project timeline. We're right here at fall or September, October during engagement opportunity 1, where we're gathering input on needs and ideas for safety improvements along Southwest 257 Drive. This, Emily in a little bit will go into detail what we're doing as part of this engagement opportunity number 1. And then from that feedback received in this, we'll develop corridor alternatives, and we'll really look at what were the priorities and really do an analysis of what we heard and what we can provide back to the community and what we can build. We'll take that alternatives development, bring it back to the community and engagement opportunity number 2, where we review those design options and really decide on the concepts and put forward solutions for all the safety improvements we're going to be doing as part of this project. And at that point, it'll be selected, and we'll take it to a conceptual design in spring of next year. And then it'll be about a year of engineering design, and it'll move into construction spring of 2024. Take it away, Emily.
Yeah, okay. So focusing in on our engagement opportunity, number one, we kind of have three main ways that we're reaching out to the community. So the first way is through an online survey, or maybe you've also heard it called like an online open house. So essentially the survey includes a few questions to ask people how they use the corridor, what issues they've found in the corridor, and then an interactive map that allows people to go in and actually point to very specific places along the corridor where they experience any kind of issues. So that could be like, a crossing location that they would like to be able to cross, but there's no protection or no formal crossing. So things like that. So that survey went live on September 23rd, and it will close out at the end of October. At the end of the presentation, Stephen will go ahead and kind of walk you through what that survey looks like. And this is really where we're trying to push the public and the community into this survey to help provide us as much information as possible. We have sent mailers to over 3,000 addresses within about a quarter-mile radius of the corridor. So if you live within that quarter mile, you have probably already received the mailer, or you will this week. We've also done a few tabling events, or we'll be doing a few. So one was last week we went to the Reynolds High School and Gresham High School football game in conjunction with our Safe Routes to School coordinator. We're also going to be attending the Gresham Saturday Market. We'll also be placing flyers around at kind of various places along the corridor. One really great example is at the 257th food carts. So just having those at kind of like the main station within those food carts to try and just get the word out as much as possible. And then of course, some social media posts and putting together a couple of project videos. So our second opportunity, which hopefully you all already know about, is our walking tours. So we're doing 2 different walking tours. They're really an opportunity for the community to walk along the corridor, kind of see in real time what the issues might be. So as far as traffic, issues with people being able to safely bike and walk along the corridor, especially when school lets out for Reynolds High School, just seeing what that really looks like there, and how we might be able to talk about challenges and improvements in that area. We are doing 2 separate tours. One of them is sort of an elected leaders government staff tour, and another one of them is for the community. So the elected leaders include various representatives from the small cities, from the city of Gresham, Troutdale, Fairview, Wood Village, and Multnomah County. And then some executive staff from city of Troutdale that will be attending as well. And then the community focused group is really trying to hit a variety of different groups that are impacted or use that corridor. So we have representatives from the Multnomah County Bike Ped Advisory Committee, from hopefully from your committee, the Troutdale Citizens Advisory Committee, Mount Hood Community College, Reynolds School District, Disability Rights Oregon, Latinx. We've reached out to the Albertsons employee union to try and see if there's someone who might like to attend from there, and then some various multifamily housing units that are along the corridor as well. And then our third approach is to have these, what we're calling focus groups. And really what they are is groups that are led by community engagement liaisons, and they're specific representatives within various non-English speaking communities that have connections within those communities, who have built trust and relationships, and can help us reach out to those that might typically not either even know about a project that's happening, or not feel like they have a way to engage, especially if they don't speak English. And so we're holding 5 different groups. That's for Spanish, Vietnamese, Chinese, Arabic, and Russian. And those are the top 5 non-English speaking communities that are along that corridor. So that's really there just to help us reach people who we normally wouldn't hear from. And I think that is back over to you, Stephen.
It is. And I do want to make a little edit to this slide here. The elected leaders, government staff it should be 3 to 4:30 p.m. Minor correction. I saw that and realized that was a mistake on my part. That times was 3 to 4:30. Okay, so I had to pull up this online survey and show you what we compiled for our online survey and open house. We have kind of an overview of how it's set up. In addition to how to use the site, project overview, some general information of what the goals are for the project, and really trying to get at, we want feedback of the issues you face in navigating along 257th, and really explaining that we hope to gather that and provide solutions for you. A little bit about the project timeline. These are the project goals that I went over a little earlier. We really want to touch that and hone that down for the community, what our goals are for this project. And this is a part of the survey, and it would be just click anywhere to interact. And then this is basically the survey. At the very end is a place where you can enter in essentially your email, and you'd win 5 gift cards, or a chance to win a gift card worth $100 each. And that's just kind of like an incentive. It's a total randomized raffle. We're really hoping that this interactive map can be utilized. So this map is it shows the extent of 257th, and you click to interact, and you know, if there's something you've experienced out there, or you know of an issue like a walking or pedestrian safety issue, you can click on one of these icons and pin it to an intersection or a place along there, and you can take that and you can essentially write a comment, and we will compile all those comments and these locations along the corridor where issues are pinned by the community and by everybody here on the call too as well. We encourage that. And that'll be a great way for us to really analyze that data that we receive, so all the voices are heard, and we can really, you know, look to empower the community that they see the issues being resolved by the county. And a little bit of next steps and how to stay involved. There's a link to this survey on our online website, multco-257/257. Which is here. A lot of our materials have QR codes, which we'll be putting up all on the community, so it's an easy access to our website and our surveys, so that we can maximize our feedback that we heard. Our next steps after this engagement opportunity number 1, which essentially part of our timeline ends at the end of October when the survey closes. That's when we're going to be concluding all of our focus groups, our survey, as well as our tabling events. And we'll take that and conduct a technical evaluation of that feedback from the survey and outreach events. We'll develop transportation solutions based on issues heard during that engagement opportunity. And we'll really bring the transportation priorities back to the community in January for what we're calling engagement opportunity number 2, or an online or in-person open house. And we'll really look at what kind of alternatives we can come up with, the budget available, based on the priorities of what we've heard in this engagement opportunity number 1. And here's a little rendering that we have put together, what really try to envision the potential of the corridor. This is not exactly what it could look like, but there's some ideas there of the potential solutions for multimodal safety. Does anybody have any questions?
Stephen, if you're done with your slideshow, it's a little easier for me to see everybody who has questions. If I can get a full screen, thank you very much.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
I just want to keep sharing that rendering. I love it.
It's good. So at the risk of sounding a little ignorant, could you define enhanced crosswalk for me? What do you mean by enhanced?
Enhanced crosswalk would be installing new or upgrading existing crosswalks. That could take a few forms. That could be simply painting the zebra crossing across the street, adding pedestrian walkway signs. You can enhance that further by adding refuge islands, concrete islands in the middle, so that pedestrians can cross the street and feel like there's a safe protected zone. In addition to that, one of the highest levels of enhancements of crosswalks is installing what we call RFBs, which are the amber flashing push to walk kind of conspicuity lights for drivers to really look to see that a pedestrian is passing. It's not as I guess you can say I don't really want to use the words like as safe as a signalized intersection, but it doesn't actually allow, force a vehicle to stop at like a red light, but it does add that extra layer of safety for a pedestrian. So that's what we mean by enhanced crossing locations.
And then is there a breakdown of how many of the accidents along there have involved pedestrians?
There is. We do have a breakdown based on data that we gather from Multnomah County Sheriff's Office as well as ODOT, because if an SO officer responds to an accident, that is automatically reported by to the DMV, which is reported back by ODOT. And we could I don't have it up on the slideshow, but that's something that could be compiled if interested.
I would find it interesting. I don't know if anybody else would.
Yeah, I think we have it pretty readily available, that data, so that's no problem.
Are there any other questions? David?
Stephen, mine are a little bit specific. Oops.
No.
There we go.
No,
No.
no, you should have a mic there by you, so you don't need to unmute
Oh,
yourself.
okay.
I do hear you, David.
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, on the sidewalks, it looks like you're going to pretty much replace all the existing sidewalks. So that would include those stupid tree rings that are where the trees overgrown the rings.
Well, to talk on the topic of replacing all the sidewalks, that is not necessarily at this point what we've decided to do. We're in the early stages of feedback, and the goal for this project is really to remove barriers to accessibility, and it'll be areas where it's difficult to navigate. The sidewalk is narrow. There's barriers. There might be like a utility pole in the way, or an illumination pole in the way, or even bus stops that might narrow that sidewalk down, so it's difficult for pedestrian to navigate. And at that point, we're going to be replacing that and fixing that and to make it more accessible. The areas of sidewalk that are buckling by tree roots, I've observed those tree grates out there. We plan to do something about that. We don't have the exact solution what we're going to do. Depends, because a lot of that would require replacing the tree and putting a new one in, and we really want to hear what the priorities are for that. But we will be fixing sidewalks that would limit access for somebody with a mobility device or even walking, and make the sidewalk safer. Okay.
Not the answer I wanted to hear. I appreciate where you're coming from, though. The same block with the tree rings is a hazard for people walking, because it fills up with debris every fall, and it winds up getting slippery with rain. And if you ever walk on that path, you get, just from people walking, you get a 1 foot wide trail, like a cow going through a field. And the rest of it is all blocked off with debris. It's not a good situation on that block.
I do see those rings as being a safety hazard as well. And really that's what we want to hone down as part of this, that removing those hazards to anybody trying to navigate by walking or rolling. So that is a focus area that we'll be looking at
Okay,
to fix.
my next question has to do with the intersection signaling. I thought you mentioned that there might be new signal lights and controllers, possibly.
Um,
Where I'm-
our minimum improvements to safety that we're already really planning on doing is upgrading like all the ramps at the intersections to bring them up to ADA standards. That would include upgraded pedestrian push button pulls installed so that they can be at arm's length at each leg of the intersection. Upgrading the walking sign across the street that you can see with the countdown and up to the newest standards. And there could be some looking at what the lights are. I don't think the controller is something we have initially evaluated yet, because that is a larger upgrade to the entire signal, in which we'd want to look at prioritizing.
My issue is bicycling, specifically turning left between Stark and Cherry Park Road. When you're on a side street turning on to 257th, bicycles do not activate the left turn signal. They won't even activate any change of light. And I will either wind up having to go running the red when the roadway is perceived to be clear enough to turn left, or having to wait till a car comes up behind me. And then I turn my bike around and directing them to come up close to me so they get over the ring to activate the signal.
Mm-hmm.
Both are bad.
Right.
So I like the idea of a push button on the side, but that won't do it in the left turn lane. Can you put in a manual stop that you can step on to activate the light?
I'm unaware of a manual stop for a bike. I know there's certain solutions for detection of a bike, the most common being really a bicycle signal that is activated by a push button that's closer to the curb that can be accessed on bike. And that's something that I think we'd want to look into, what kind of detection could be made. And there's other solutions that are possible, like bike boxes where you're up front, the bike is being detected, and it's a safe spot to make that left turn on a bicycle as well.
Okay.
So without looking at all the wiring just yet, what's doable with what we got, but I think that's something we can definitely look into.
Well, that's a big safety issue for
Yeah.
on bicycles. And then final question, will there be a no-cut policy after you do the overlay?
Yeah, so the county road rules does have a moratorium within that basically does not allow for, I'd have to go back and check, but I think it's a 3-year time period. But we can confirm. But yes, we have a no cut policy on freshly overlaid roads.
Okay.
There is exceptions that are allowed by the county engineer, but we have since had sort of some policy conversations around if we were to grant an exception, what that might look like, and basically requiring more than just kind of the standard trench replacement for any utility cuts, and having, something more significant that's like either a quarter block or a half block from curb to curb, or full lane width, depending on where the cut actually is. But we definitely want to preserve that overlay as much as possible.
Thank you much.
Carla?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo Shelley's comment. I think it would be really helpful to understand in that crash data, if it is cars that have a higher incidence, or if it's pedestrians, or if it's both. Because if I think from a driver perspective, it might be different feedback, but if the problem is actually pedestrians, I would rather have that focus in my recommendations. So would appreciate that.
Sure, we'll send it over, but I do know that it's the majority of the collisions are car to car.
Okay.
We did have one fatality. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but just last year we had a pedestrian fatality in that corridor. This is really great, by the way. This is exactly the kind of feedback that we're hoping to get, just hearing about what issues you guys experience along that corridor. So we really appreciate all your questions and feedback.
Anybody on Zoom have any questions? Alexander, Will?
No, I think not yet.
Okay.
I have to look at your interactive map a little bit more to see exactly if I have any questions. And I missed exactly what the corridor is from. It's from that road that I can't remember the name of. I want to say Strauss, but all the way down to where, Halsey?
Sturgis, to the
Sturgis.
north. It's Sturgis and Cherry Park north, and then that goes south all the way down to Stark Street. Multnomah County owns the north half of Stark, and City of Gresham owns that second half. So that's the project extents of improvements.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions?
Well, I'm going to ask one more. Now that you've clarified what the boundaries are, I feel like there's a certain amount of momentum from Halsey up the hill to Cherry Park and around a blind corner, and now there's a food cart driveway there that might inform what happens in the corridor you're assessing. So I believe that area has to be looked at as well, because if the light is green, there are a lot of semis that are trying to keep their momentum going, and they go up the hill as fast as they possibly can. If the light is red, then you have people trying to get around the semis. And I've noticed it's not being in the food court, but it's very difficult for people to get in and out without being yelled at, in a manner of speaking. So I feel like even though that might not be a player in the corridor, it has some influence over the section that you're looking at.
That is a really good point. The extents that I've shared is part of our capital improvement program that was within regional priorities and communications with the city at building that corridor. The idea being also that it doesn't have as many multimodal city improvements as the extents we're looking at as part of this project. It has areas of wider sidewalk. It does have a center median, which tends to safety for drivers and pedestrians alike to lower those conflict points and lower speeds. I know that's not always followed as observed out there. But you do make a good point that the food cart is a new addition between the CIP being established and now. But that's just kind of a little bit of an explanation of why those extents are for this project, and possibly why we need to look at that, maybe not as part of this project, but as a future project to up any type of sort of safety that has been, established as part of that food cart pod. Emily, would you like to add anything more to that?
Yeah, I think that we've heard varying feedback around how that food cart entrance and exit, what that interaction is like on the 257th. we actually have looked at doing different signage there, things like that, just to see if there's a way to make that a better access point. So it is something that we're looking at, our planning group is looking at. It's just at this point not included in this capital project, but that doesn't mean that in the future it's not something that we wouldn't make any modifications to.
Thank you. I have to also say I do like your render.
All good? All right, Stephen and Emily, thank you so much for the presentation.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody here.
Thank you.
We're happy to be part of this and sharing this with you.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll be back to see you guys probably in January, just to follow up on all the issues that we've heard, and hope to get more of your feedback. Please share our survey with as many people as you feel. Anyone who uses or that corridor or lives along the corridor, that would be really great. We'd really appreciate it, and thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Right. Next is staff communications.
Right, I'll share a screen of updates, just a moment. Okay. All right, everyone. So to follow up on the staffing update last month, I believe Community Development Director David Berniker has begun since our last meeting. He started on September 19th, just entering his 3rd week. And he wanted to join us tonight, but it didn't work out scheduling wise, but he is planning to attend in November, so I can introduce him in person. And I will also ask Chrissy-Ann if she might be able to join us either virtually or in person. So I heard that you were wanting to meet her too, which I'm glad to hear that. So we'll reach out to her. On the 11th of October, there will be a presentation to City Council. Also kind of in the beginning stages, like 257th is, TriMet is also in the beginning stages of changing their service. During the pandemic, they lost a lot of service, they had to reduce a lot of routes, and they're looking to build back up the previous service and build a little beyond that. And that will potentially involve some changes for Troutdale, some improved service, maybe some service losses. But we're in the beginning, we have time to give input now. And particularly where we might experience losses, this is our opportunity to speak up and say that we notice and ask for something more. Like briefly, line 77 looks like that'll be increased to frequent service. We're looking at increased service to Troutdale Reynolds Industrial Park, better connection up there. But we may lose service out to Glen Auto Park, and we might lose service along 257th, but it looks like TriMet's already received feedback saying that we don't agree and would like to see service retained on that road. So I think that they'll present some alternatives to that. So these aren't proposed changes yet, they're concepts and they're looking for feedback. And they have a survey open now that can be shared widely. They have some open houses, and also included in their public outreach phase is coming directly to City Council to present to us there. So if you'd like to attend, get feedback, be on Zoom, send a letter, anything that you like to do, that'll be October 11th. Let's see, Transportation System Plan has one more hearing with City Council. That will be October 25th. If you still have comments that you'd like to submit, at the first hearing, there's a lot of conversation about the 2nd Street Bridge, for example. So if you're following that to advocate or you want to discuss concerns, either way, you can come October 25th or send letter feedback. And then our next CAC meeting is November 2nd. That's all I have for staff comments.
Any questions for Melissa? Committee member comments. Let's start online with Alexander.
Hi, I don't have any real comments. It was great to talk about 257. I think there has to be hello. There has to be some major stuff going on as the population grows, as the traffic gets worse, but this is a good start. And I think that was a great discussion. I hope for more. And I will go to the interactive site if I can find a way to get in there. Thank you. And thank you, Melissa, for getting them here. And thank you, Sandy, for hanging out with us once again. Your I have to say that your picture, Sandy, looks like a publicity still from a Busby Berkeley movie.
What you can't actually tell is that I kind of slumped down in a black leather chair to get a black background. And that was actually the image that I ended up using in the voters pamphlet because it was a solid color. So it's one of those, okay, it's been all this effort to get that retouched. I'm just gonna go with that.
Oh, that's great.
Yep, I always learn a lot listening to you guys.
We appreciate you being here. Will, do you have anything for tonight?
No, I just kind of went through that. I don't know if anybody else was impacted by the internet outage. Ziply was down for what they say, about 3,000 some homes for about 2 days.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I'm just happy to have internet back. That isn't like some kind of hotspot that everyone in the neighborhood isn't trying to share. So I know it affected some city offices too. But that's all I got.
Figure out why it went down?
So I kind of went through some of the local forums, and one person posted they heard it was an emergency firmware downgrade and was asking what firmware was. And if anyone wonders, firmware is kind of like a base software that allows different software pieces to interconnect. And yeah, sometimes when it gets upgraded, things break.
Will, do you have anything for tonight?
No, thanks for a very informative presentation. Appreciate that and hope to see you guys next month.
Thank you. Victoria?
Nothing.
Nothing? No? Shelby?
Nothing other than I thought, hopefully our TSP plan, whatever we talked about biking and all that stuff, we would make sure that some of those projects get included in this. 257 stuff, yeah, so hopefully. I was gonna look at that closer. But otherwise, great, thank you, Melissa, for getting them here, that was really good.
David?
Just one thing, it may have some difficulty in our next meeting. I'll be traveling between now and then. I'm supposed to be back on the 1st, but airlines are not as dependable as I would like, so just in case I'm missing. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah, great meeting. Thank you for the presentation. And happy fall, everybody. Maybe it's a little warm out there.
all right. And I also thank you, Melissa, for everything you do and the presentation as well. It would be great if we could get the slideshow virtually emailed to us so that we can go through it again. And I think the survey links were included in the email that Chris Ann sent. But if you could see that we get emailed the TriMet survey link as well, that would be lovely.
Yes, I'll do that. I'll send a summary out tomorrow with the links and the slides, and I'll see if I can get the answers from our guest presenters on the crash data, so I can include that in one digest.
Great. And that's all I have. Anything else for tonight, or are we making record time and being done? It's like, we haven't been here an hour. I feel like somebody needs to stall. All right, well, can we get a motion to adjourn?
A motion that we adjourn.
And
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Our October 5th, 2022 Citizens Advisory Committee is adjourned. Anybody showing up late is.
Or not.
Too bad, since,
Have a lovely
Good
evening.
night.
Everyone.
Good night.
Thank you. Night.
I think that is our quickest.
short
We
and
still
sweet.
covered a lot of info too.
Yeah.
Well, and we need to solve,